All right, guys, welcome to our channel. I do appreciate you guys watching my wonderful channel. We do have a special guest today, Miss Cindy. Thank you so much for coming over here
Thank
today.
you
I know
so
you're
much for
very
the
busy,
invitation.
but we're gonna go ahead and try to knowledge our audience. And once again, thank you so much for showing up over here. So we have so much to talk about, so little bit of time. So we're gonna do the best we can to be able to give this information briefly to you guys. So Cindy, once again, thank you so much for coming over here. I do appreciate, your presence. I know you're extremely busy with school and so much that you have going on. But with that being said, we have one of the main topics that we've been talking about for quite some time. One of the main topics are why are humans lasting longer in developing countries? Meaning, why are individuals lasting longer in third world countries or other third party countries when we have all the resources in the world? Now, Cindy, how can we be able to apply some knowledge towards this question? Um, so I know you have a little bit of background in school. You are still going to school, which is amazing, and I feel like I got the right person to be in this podcast.
Yeah.
So once again, thank you so much. So as far as in developing countries, we don't have no resources. They barely have any good medicines, barely any good hospitals, and they're lasting longer than us. So I think our average age is from like 70 to 80, and that's old to certain people. But for example, my grandma lasted about 112 years old, and she's in Honduras. So, with that being said, it's just like they have no resources, they have nothing out there, no medicine, no nothing, to a point where it kind of impresses me like how these individuals last longer. Now, it all boils down to what we put into our systems. So, can you explain to me a little bit towards how can we be able to last longer in this lifetime?
Well, Gio, thank you for inviting me on this podcast. I really appreciate it. To answer your question, so the life expectancy in the U.S. has been trending upward, and then we all know that like, in 2020, COVID happened,
Yes.
and then we saw the significant decline, and that is like the significant decline ever since 1921 and 1923.
True. Yes.
And I'm just gonna give you some number. The life expectancy in the U.S. is around like 78 years old,
Yep.
and we all know that we spend like a lot on healthcare.
Yes.
And when you compare that to, let's say, Australia, Okinawa, Japan, and we see their life expectancy is like around 82 years old. Obviously, that's a question, right?
Yes.
And then in Vietnam, that's where I'm from, our life expectancy is 76 years old.
Okay.
So why are the differences in the numbers, right? And in the US, you mentioned that we have a lot of healthcare like devices, medication, and all that. But why is the number still lagging behind other country? It's because we have chronic illnesses.
Yes.
For
Definitely.
example, diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and cancer. Chronic illnesses is rampant in this country. And when we look at life expectancy, we need to look at mortality, right? And with mortality rate, there's so many factors that impact it. For example, substance abuse issue, chronic illnesses, um, access to care, um, lifestyle, and all that, and pregnancy, maternal health, and maternal death, and infant death is the highest in the U.S. and especially in the minority group. And Black women are dying at a higher rate comparing to other races.
Okay, I never knew that.
And when you look at this, you wonder like why just that race? And when we talk about health, we need to talk about genetics, our biological. So genetically, African American have higher rates of having high blood pressure, having cardiovascular diseases, dealing with diabetes. So all of those factors adding on to lifestyle. Like when you look at the US comparing to Japan or Italy or Australia or something. We are much more sedentary, right?
Yes, definitely. I know we do have a very, very high rate of diabetes. More here than it could happen vice versa, but I feel like it's focused more here. Diabetes is a big factor here. Just because the foods that we digest are not the best foods, my point of view. And being in a developing country, or third world country, which is not the right way to say it, but there's basically everything is natural. We have the natural eggs, we have the natural foods, everything is off farm raised. So since our population is so big, it feels like fake foods have to exist in order for people to be able to eat. Now, fast foods and all these other foods nowadays are pretty much killing us slowly by slowly. Um, how can we be able to be more healthy in our daily basis life? You know, yes, we could be able to eat clean, we could be able to eat healthy, but is there specific foods that we should stay away from, or foods that we shouldn't be digesting? Period. What do you think about something like that?
So when we talk about food, we need to talk about like how do you even get to the food? Like we
Yes.
need to talk about economics, right? The reason why there's so many fast food in this country is because of lower income classes.
Yes.
That's the reason why fast food was created, because it's fast and it's cheap. And if you look at the map on comparing from wealthier living area comparing to lower income area, you can see all of the fast food restaurants concentrated in the lower income, and obviously because it's cheap and it's fast. But the ingredients in there are obviously not the best. So what can we do? We can we can be intentional about our eating. It eating I personally don't think that food is bad for you and that there's like, well, I don't like the term bad food because food is to nourish the body.
Yes.
So you need to be intentional about what you eat. Rice and beans, your legumes, your pinto beans, your lentils, vegetable, fresh, vegetable and fruit. For example, blueberries, raspberries, all the things like that. And it's more of like you need to be intentional about what you choose to put in your body and what you choose to exclude.
Yes. You think that as far as vegetables and fruits, it's better to go the vegan way, or as far as the organic way, or you think there's a difference between both as far as organic and non-organic? Because nowadays it's like it is a price difference. I think I want to go buy some blueberries the other day. Normally I think they were like $4, and organic they were like almost a little bit more than like half. You think organic, going organic way can be able to help us out a little bit better, or?
I personally think that organic produce is, I'm not going to try to say it's a scam, but I think it's a gimmick. Because to have something labeled as organic, you need to have to pay like a certification, like a meta verified badge. It's like that. With farmers that don't pay for that, that don't use pesticide or anything on their produce, they're not allowed to sell that as organic, even though it was grown organically.
Right. Right.
So you need to be like mindful about where you buy it from, but at the same time, like, I mean, GMO, I know that's like a really, really hot topic.
Yes.
And a lot of people have like negative views on GMO, but I personally think that GMO is fine. But I know other people have like other opinion on that. I personally like, I feel like you shouldn't put that much importance on what is organic or what is not organic, what is GMO. Maybe we should focus our attention onto what do we even choose to buy from the grocery store.
Yes. Now, another big factor that I've been seeing lately is synthetic sugars. You can be able to pull up a product and you say it says zero this, zero that, zero this, and but then you taste it and it has sugar. So, how does the body digest synthetic sugars? Like, how does that work within the body? Because it's supposedly has zero sugar, but then again, it still tastes like sugar. So, how does the body digest synthetic sugar?
So synthetic sugar is made to trick your brain to think that it's sweet, but it doesn't spike your blood sugar. How normal sugar work and how our body break down sugar, first of all, it's through our mouth. We eat something, we have saliva, we have our teeth to break down food. So your saliva contains enzymes that can break down sugar first. And then we have our pancreas that will help. There's insulin and there's enzyme in there that will help you break down the
Break down the
sugar
sugars.
and put like stored sugar as glucagon into your body to as storage. And whatever is excess, you just excrete via urine, stool. But with synthetic sugar, there has been research saying that over long term, ingesting synthetic sugar, it will damages your gut bacteria.
Okay.
So healthier alternative can be raw honey, coconut sugar, stevia, not any other thing else. Stevia, monk fruit.
You think that as far as living in our database life, you think that stress has a big impact in our health? For the most part, we do, but how can stress pretty much bring us down? We could get sick over stress. So stress is a big factor in my point of view. What do you think about stress?
We all have stress. There's healthy stress and then there's unhealthy stress. Healthy stress will help. It's okay to be normally anxious before, let's say, an interview or before your exam. Like it kind of help you like achieve your goal in a
Right.
way. But then when stress become uncontrollable, that's when the problem happen. Stress will overwork your amygdala, which is where your the fear and the emotion, the anxiety, you feel more anxious. Stress will help will negatively impact your hippocampus, which is where it's in the brain,
Yes.
where it helps you process like like long-term memories. So when you chronically stress for a long period of time, you will start to notice the brain fog. You're not really like paying attention that much. You're you're not concentrated, and then it also impacts your prefrontal cortex. So when you're not concentrated, you're not thinking straight, there's a brain fog, you can't really make proper decision. So managing stress, for example, mindfulness, talking to people, having a social support group, yoga, all of that need to be incorporated into your daily routine. I'm not saying like you need to do all of those things, but you need to have an outlet. Exercises,
Yes.
um, eating healthy also,
Yes.
because if you eat food all the time, like
You
you're
feel
not really nourishing your body
you feel
right.
down.
You
You're
feel
more
down. You
tired.
feel terrible. Sleep. Sleep is so important for your brain. Sleeping
Yes.
7 to 9 hours a day, um, it's literally the time where your brain is cleaning out stuff.
Yes, sleeping is very important for the brain health. You know, a lot of people think just because they work 40, 60 hours in a week, you're gonna see them always drained, always down. And then again, lack of sleep, lack of eating the right correct foods, not going to the gym, you're pretty much going to end up striking diabetes in the end of the day. I think that synthetic sugars, um, it does break down in the system very well, which is good, but I feel like it's fake. Like it's not real sugar. So
Right.
it's like having too much of it. I know the body breaks it down nicely, but I feel like the sugar is the big factor
Mm-hmm.
in in as far as like your healthy lifestyle, living, with that being said, yes, we talked about working out, eating a little bit cleaner, talked about a little bit about vegan foods. What do you think about diets? Is there a such thing as diets nowadays?
Um, what do you mean by diet? Like diet to lose weight, or like a diet that we follow?
For example, I had this this fine lady the other day spoke to me the other day. She's like, "Oh, Gio, I lost 30 pounds. I was in a soup diet."
What?
Oh wow, soup diet. Okay. She lost 30 pounds, which is good. And I tell her, I was like, "Are you gonna go a whole lifetime eating soup?"
Right.
So meaning it boils down all the way to the end of eating healthy. So it's like, you could be able to get to the weight, but then again you have to maintain the weight. So it's sometimes it's like, I mean, yeah, you want to get to the diet, you want to get to yourself to that specific body you want to get. You're gonna feel a lot more better. But then again, it's like I feel like diets are fake. Diets, it doesn't really exist. What do you have an option towards that?
So we are so wonderful as like human, and our body is made by God and it's so amazing. So when it comes to like diet and healthcare, it is so personal, right? There's no one diet that fit everyone. That's why there's so many diet and detox out there. But this is what I like to tell my friends is that we already have the organs to detox. We have
Yes.
our lungs to exhale like carbon dioxide, to supply our blood with oxygen so that it can like nourishes our organs, and that's how we remove our toxins too. So whatever supplements that claim to help you detox or help you to like eliminate toxins or something like that, all of that is going to put back into your bloodstream, right?
Yes.
And how our body detox is via your lungs, via your liver, via your kidney, and via your GI tract. So the lungs, like I said, it will help expel carbon dioxide, putting oxygen back into our blood, and then that blood will go into our liver, and then our liver will metabolize and break it down the fat and turn into water soluble so that our liver our kidney can expel that toxin and whatever. And our there's like a gallbladder.
Yes.
We have gallbladder too, and then that also help break down stuff to excrete, and whatever the kidney can excrete, you just excrete via your stool.
Yes.
Like, and with diet, like the reason why your friend lost so much weight is because she basically starved herself.
I didn't want to tell her, but then again, sometimes going towards the wrong diet can be able to be worse for really bad for your
Exactly.
health. Like I think in a monthly basis, depending on your weight, I think her losing 15 pounds in 1 month, I think it's a lot. I don't
That's a
think that's
lot.
even healthy. Then again, you could fall into the category of all these other health factors. Now, what is one of the early symptoms of diabetes? How can somebody know that something is going on with them, and what's a symptom about maybe I'm falling into the category of diabetes? What are the early symptoms of diabetes?
So there are two types of diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is genetic, where you're lacking insulin. So you need insulin injection
Yes.
to process sugar. And then type 2 diabetes is the most prevalent in the United States. And that is where you have poor control of sugar, and you basically produce insulin, but your receptors are not responding. So whatever sugar is in your system, it's not getting into your cell.
Okay.
We have cells in our body that help us move and help us daily function, right? But sugar is also energy. Sugar is not all bad. We need sugar because your body is already so overloaded and your receptors are not responding. So your cells are basically starving. So that's why you feel the need to constantly um, eat and eat and eat to to bring up that sugar. And then there's the three P's: polyuria, so you're peeing a lot; polydipsia; and then polyphagia. So you're eating a lot, you're peeing a lot, you're drinking a lot, but you're never satiated. So you're not satiated when you eat, you constantly need more. You're drinking so much because you're constantly thirsty because your body is trying to get rid of all the sugar, but you don't feel like your thirst is quenched, right? And all of that are the telltale signs.
Yes. I mean, that's amazing. So I've had a couple friends talk to me in the past couple weeks, and they told me that they have an opioid addiction, like addiction of opioids, meaning that they're drinking some certain medicines to spike up their opioid like receptors. Um, what's your opinion on opioid medicines, and how can we be able to get off like opioid, um, as far as medicines, or because we do get addicted to opioids. So what can you explain to me a little bit about how can we be able to get off opioids, or is it good for us or bad for us, as far as towards that?
I I personally think that you shouldn't even mess with it in the first place,
Right.
because I mean we have a synthetic opioid like fentanyl, like
Right.
crisis in this whole country. Like, why would you even go there? You know, I feel like you should just stay away from all of that. And within healthcare, our motto is that we apply the least invasive intervention as possible. So what that means for normal people like us is that preventative measure. Why is your friend on that, and what is the goal for that? Did they consult their doctor for that? You know, like
9 out of 10 they probably didn't, but they just
so all of this tie back to the diet that your friend had. Is like all of this, you're putting stress on your
yes,
body.
stress.
Your body likes to be maintained at a homeostasis, as a balance. It knows how to regulate itself. So you're just doing all of this extra things thinking that you're really helping yourself, but you're just stressing your body out.
Going more and more and more and more
Exactly.
behind.
It's like simple is best, in my opinion. You nourish your body by eating right, exercise, sleep well, be intentional about what you eat. I'm not telling you to like cut out fast food, but obviously, like, don't eat that every day.
Right. What are good foods to be able to cleanse our body? I know they sell all types of shots nowadays, ginger, turmeric. Um, when you want to cleanse your body, do you take certain foods that can help you cleanse like the body a little bit? I usually have a little bit of ginger, sometimes a little bit of turmeric, but then again, I'm not sure if I'm getting the full cleanse. How can I be able to flush the whole system out without having to drink all these crazy medicines?
So, like I said, cleansing and detox, personally, you already have the organs for that. What I personally think is via diet. Drink more water.
Definitely.
You need to be mindful about what you eat, and then eat more soluble fibers. For example, your legumes, your leafy greens, protein. You have all of that already.
Yes.
You know, like
The body is it's an
it's just
incredible.
so
Yes.
amazing. And our kidneys, and I call the kidneys as a sensitive lady. Whatever you're trying to do, that's you need before you even ingest a supplement. You need to be thinking about your organs.
Right.
Like, what are you putting? Because whatever you ingest, it needs to come out.
Yes.
And the lungs, the liver, the kidney, your GI tract, it's gone. It's like you're overworking.
Yes, you're overworking.
You know,
The body's
you
an
can
incredible machine.
you can drink your ginger shot and all that. Like, that's fine. Like ginger, turmeric, paprika, lemon. Like, they all have good health benefit. And I'm not telling you to stop, but like extra supplement that you're trying that claims to help detox the liver, detox the kidney, or like colon cleansing or something like that. Those are so invasive. What I mean by invasive is that you're putting your body through a lot.
Yes.
So why would you want to do that, you know?
Yep. Another question I might have, or maybe it's a statement. So there's these pills that are called the multivitamin pill. One a day men, one a day women. I feel like the body doesn't need those multivitamins every day. Why? Because the body is like I think it's more like a factor for them to sell. Because you could have a pill today, maybe you're missing a couple balances in your system, and then you have another one the next day, and you're still pissing like a horse. So the body's absorbing what it needs, and the rest is throwing it out.
Exactly.
So those multivitamins, I feel like it's kind of like a scam. It's good to have them because sometimes the body's lacking on iron.
Yeah.
A couple little things, but that one a day, it's like I think it's just a method for them to sell more towards like the vitamins and stuff like that. Because nowadays it's so hard to with the foods that they sell out here, or it's so hard to get the full nutrients nowadays, especially with all these fast foods restaurants, and the food's gotten so expensive nowadays. Pretty much $100, $200, it's nothing nowadays. At least to go in a restaurant. I think I went to Whole Foods the other day, and I spent about, I think it was like $275, and I didn't even grab meat. I'm just like, wow, like what's going on here? Like, and then I try to get the best of the best, but it's like food has gotten so expensive that yes, the healthy foods are always going to be a lot more expensive, but you are gonna go ahead and feel a lot more better. My point of view. For example, I fast the whole day. Reason why I fast the whole day to a certain time because I feel like my mind is more focused. If I was to have breakfast, it's why it's called breakfast to break your fast.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning that when you're gonna go ahead and eat breakfast, you're breaking that fast from
Mm-hmm.
that 6 7 hours that you had to sleep. And I usually have breakfast. Like when I will have breakfast, I will feel like down. I'll feel like I want to go back to sleep. So it's this reason why I fast, and I feel like like my brain is so much more sharper. I don't get tired as much, and believe it or not, I actually have more energy. Some people tell me, Gio, how do you do it? Like I'm already immune. I've been like this for quite some time, like about 2 to 3 years. I've been fasting, and but with that being said, fasting is good. But then again, it just all depends how the body's maneuvering it, because you could be fasting and be eating the wrong foods, and then it's all a big factor, and it's just eating healthy and staying clean and eating the right foods needed. What's yes?
And like I said, I was gonna say, like, because we're so personal, our diet, what we eat, and all of that is so personal to the individual. So let's say, because I also fast, and then I break my fast like really later, and that probably doesn't work for other people,
Right.
So, like like I said, like intentional eating. What is it that you're eating in the morning that's why they recommend light breakfast, right? When you eat, all of your blood goes into your stomach, and then once you eat, it triggers the parasympathetic nervous system to rest and digest. So obviously you're gonna feel lethargic because all the energy is went into to digest the food. So be intentional about what you eat, like a light breakfast, like toast, a slice of toast before you go to exercise, some eggs, something like that, so that like it doesn't requires so much energy, and it doesn't make you feel so like, ugh, like after you eat a whole plate at Thanksgiving dinner,
Yes.
and and again, intentionality is such a big thing for me, and this is what I tell my friend too, is like that there's like when you eat, there's a 80% at 80% rule, and it's like if you feel full, you should stop. The 20% is where like you can really either lose weight or gain weight. You should never eat until you're like super stuffed.
Yes.
So when you eat, pay attention when you eat. Like, okay, I'm eating a few spoons. Let's say I have a whole pint of ice cream. I really want this ice cream, so I'm gonna eat it. So I'm gonna eat 2 3 spoons. Okay, check into myself. Do I feel satisfied, or do I want more, or maybe I'm satisfied, I'm just gonna put it away,
Yes.
because sometimes that's just what your body wants. I don't want people to limit anything, or cut out anything, or add more to their diet. I want people to be looking at what they're eating and reform it. Where am I lacking? Like, am I eating enough vegetable? Okay, maybe I can may eat more vegetable. If I can't buy lots of vegetable that often, maybe I can like put the money towards like fiber supplements or something, and then I can just compromise that. There are many things you can do to help yourself. So intentionality is just a big thing for me to that I want people to focus on.
100%. So I think I experienced something that nobody does. Why? Because so what I do is I fast the whole day, and when I finally eat around 5 or 6, when I'm eating that healthy meal, I feel like I'm getting like an orgasm on how good the body is feeling. Like I be like dancing, and some people are like, "Why are you dancing?" And I'm like, "It's my first meal of the day," so it's like the body absorbs it because it's like so starving and it's hungry, and you're eating the right foods and you're eating good food to a point where I start like dancing and I start feeling good. Some people don't have that feeling of like, damn, you know what? I just finished eating something good, but it's like my whole body is like absorbing it to a point where it's like, wow, like I really feel good. A lot of people don't experience that because they eat breakfast, they eat lunch, and they eat at nighttime. So it's like when you're eating constantly, you don't get that orgasm feeling of like, wow, like this food is like amazing, it's so good, my body is literally absorbing this right now. um but with that being said, sleeping is a big factor. I've been lacking on sleeping a little bit just because I have like a lot going on with my business, etc. But we could always be better.
Right.
we,
Sleeping is
we could
so
always do
important.
better.
7 to 9 hours a night. It's literally removing the amyloid that decrease that is like risk for Alzheimer's
Yes.
and dementia, and it helps consolidate your memory and put it from the hippocampus into your cortex. Hippocampus is a short term and cortex is a long term memory storage. And when you REM sleep, it will help you like kind of make unusual connection.
Yes.
Like what I'm trying to say is like when you sleep well and then like you go into your life and you come into a trouble or something, your brain is much more focused. Your prefrontal cortex is where you're not as anxious. You're able to think clearly. You're able to make proper decision, and that you can make unusual connection that leads to solving something. You know, sleep
Yeah, it's
is
it's definitely a
literally
big
the
factor.
best medicine. Sleeping and eating well
Yeah.
and having social connection.
And have a social connection. Yes. I was talking to one of my bodybuilder friends at a gym that I have installed for a gentleman, and he was telling me that he every year he spends about $15,000 in water.
Water.
I'm like, water? What do you mean water? Water is just water. He came down, he sat next to me, he's like, look, Gio, water is a big factor.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays waters are being contaminated, and then you're eating healthy, you're eating clean, but then the water that you're digesting is bad. Yes, they got Fiji, they got spring water, they got all types of waters. You think water does a big factor like in the human body?
Very much. Our human body is like 70% water. And water is in our blood. And if you don't drink enough water, you're gonna get high heart rate because water helps expand the volume of the blood. It helps keep things moving. It helps you flush out the toxin in your body or whatever excess via urine, via pee. You also sweat water. So throughout the day, even when you're asleep, maybe you're like hot sleep or something, you're already losing water. You can Did you know that like you can go longer without eating and you can only go 3 days without water?
Yes.
So water is so important.
Very important.
Hydration. You need to hydrate your body. So I do agree with your friend
Yeah.
what he said because I've been seeing the
Yeah.
news on like, oh,
Yes.
this water is
Water contaminated
contaminated.
on this side of the town, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, wow, dude, like, it's just, we try to stay clean, we try to eat healthy, but then I was like $15,000 a year. I'm like, he's like, yeah, look, you show me the statements. I was like, wow, like he does get the best water.
Well, like when you have like the fun for that, like I would say go for it, but with like other people, like I would just say just continue to drink water. Obviously, like be careful of your source and trying to get filtered water and all that, but water is so important. I don't care whatever else you do, you exercise or you take all these supplements. Without water, it's not working because water helps things absorb and
Yes.
like osmosis, diffusion, and all that in your body. It needs
It
water.
needs definitely water. But then again, in these developing countries, the water tastes so bad. Like I went to, I think Honduras, and the water was so horrible. I'm like, how are these people drinking this water? And my uncles are like drinking it like nothing. I guess their body's already
You're just
immune to
used
it.
to it,
Now
yeah.
I would have the water, and it will land so bad in my stomach, and I would just start, feeling horrible. So then again, the water is water, and yes, we gotta have as much as possible like in our bodies. But then again, it's just some people are already used to that type of water,
Exactly.
so their
So
body is already immune to it.
so your health is much more than just like you taking care of yourself. Your health is determined by the environment that you live in, the people you surround yourself with, and then you take care of yourself and then what you consume. So your environment plays a huge factors on what your health is going to turn out. So if you live in somewhere or in a situation where you don't have access to clean water, don't have access to food and all of that, like your health is going to suffer.
Definitely, it's definitely gonna suffer. With that being said, it's good to stay clean, but sometimes we don't know we're having the right nutrients like in our bodies. So it's like we'll probably have a symptom of something missing in our body, and we usually know when something's missing in our bodies. We start feeling down. I
Right.
feel like stress is a very big factor because with stress, your hair can fall off. You could be able to stop eating. You could be able. So
Yeah.
guys, we gotta be happy. We gotta try to stay, as happy as possible. Get yourself with be with good people that love you. Surround yourself with that good people that just bring that best side of you. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So in the end of the day, I feel like stress is a big factor. Even if you're eating the cleanest, even if you're drinking the best water in the world, then you're having all these vegan foods or the best of the best food. Stress is a big factor, and it's a big factor in where in the states that we live in because we have so much to worry about, from like our jobs to a million things going on at the same time. And I could understand people because it could be very difficult at times to
Mhm.
try to stay happy, and
Yeah.
that's the reason why people start going to opioid medicines and they try to supplement something, putting a band-aid on something that could easily be fixed by just maneuvering yourself correctly.
And that is also the big reason why chronic illnesses like diabetes and high blood pressure is so prevalent in this country, is because besides from genetic factors, both of those things require lifestyle changes. And lifestyle and behavioral changes is the hardest in us human, because we like routine. We don't really like to do things that is hard or our body deem as like hard. So let's say that you have been following like a diet where you just go to McDonald's morning and then lunch, and then for dinner you just go home and eat home cooked meal or something. Like you're so used to that. So like once when you're trying to implement a change, like it's out of your routine, it's like you don't feel satisfied because it's off.
Yes.
And a lot of people just try to give up. They would just give up before they like adhere to a diet, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So like the blue zone diet is what
The blue
is,
zone diet. Yeah.
yeah, the blue zone diet is super popular.
Yeah. So we talked about synthetic, sugars, synthetic foods. I feel like nowadays foods that are frozen, when we finally get to it to eat it, I feel like since it's been frozen for quite some time, the nutrients is like basically not there anymore. Instead of eating something fresh and having something that's frozen, and you're cooking it, you're doing it with love, but it's like you're not getting the full nutrients because it's been frozen for how many years? That it all depends.
So I do have like something to say about frozen foods.
Yes.
I personally think that there's a benefit to flash frozen stuff, because or else like nothing is gonna get anywhere, right?
Yes.
And especially with fruit, when you look at frozen fruit comparing to fresh fruit at the supermarket, what is happening is when the flash frozen stuff, they're picked and then they're flash frozen right away. Their nutrient is literally frozen. The fresh produce, it has time to sit in the room temp, it has time to rot. So that's where the difference is. With frozen meals, though, I do agree with you that they obviously have to use preservative to keep it longer on the shelf. Um, and eating, and it's usually high in sodium
Very high.
and salt. We've talked about salt before, and our body needs salt.
Yeah.
But salt is literally everywhere you go in the United States. When I first come here, everything is super super salty and super super sugary. So the the American diet, over time, they're so used to that.
Yes.
And like having more salt in the body, it will attract water and that will increase your blood pressure, you know.
Yeah.
So looking at the sodium content, I was, oh my gosh, I remember this one time I was at the airport and I bought this sandwich, and it was 1,450 milligrams of sodium in there.
Wow.
I was like, oh my gosh,
It's a lot.
that's a
That's
lot.
definitely a
Then
lot.
that was just in a sandwich.
Yeah,
So you see the problem.
it's a big
It's like
problem.
it's hard for people like to even when they try to be better, it's hard for people to even pick anything because everything is already too salty, preservative or something like that.
Something, yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because I think a couple months ago I spoke to you and I was like, Cindy, I don't have nothing with salt. Salt, it's like I have nothing. I have fries or anything,
Yeah.
sweet potato fries, no salt. And you explained to me that salt is very important. Why? Because
It's an electrolyte that
I
our
do
body
like a lot of
needs.
marathons and stuff, and I drink my
Yeah.
waters and stuff, but I still feel like I'm gonna pass out. And you explained to me
Because
how
it's
important salt
yeah.
is, and I started drinking my water in the morning. Add a little bit of pink Himalayan salt,
Mhm.
and I feel a lot more energized. I feel like wow, like the body. I can't believe the body has been lacking on this, and I haven't
Mhm.
really drank salt because I can't stand salt. Salt is like um,
Yeah.
so salt is a big factor. It's very important for the body, and I just
And sugar.
yes, and
You're
sugar.
you're only supposed to consume like about 22 to 24 grams a day
Wow,
of sugar.
wow,
And you know how much is in a drink? Usually it's like 42,
yeah,
or like it will be total sugar 24 grams, but like total carbohydrate is like 48 grams. So it's like, but speaking of sugar and speaking of food, you can be intentional about which food will be lower glycemic index.
yes,
So I brought up raw honey.
Rohan is
Raw
amazing.
honey is moderate glycemic index. So you can pick and choose on how you want to tweak your body, you know what I mean?
Yes,
And fruit. Berries are the best. Berries have low glycemic index. If you eat grapes, grapes are very high in glycemic index. You need to eat the skin because the skin will help when it gets to your GI, it will help bring down that sugar.
yes,
If
definitely.
you eat the grape without the skin, it's basically you're just eating candy. Mangoes are high in sugar.
Yes.
So apple with the skin. Things with skin.
Yes. So usually when I have a protein shake at night, I like sometimes putting bananas in, but I don't put banana because it has naturally sugars, and some fruits and some as far as fruits goes, like mangoes, how you mentioned, they do have high sugar,
And pineapple too.
and pineapple has a lot of high sugar. So then again, you could be like, damn, I'm eating clean, I'm eating good,
Yeah,
but then I'm having all these fruits and
exactly.
with so much sugar, and you're just like,
And I'm like
oh,
not
but I'm having
losing
fruits,
weight.
and I'm
Exactly. That
exactly
that's the misconception that I see in a lot of people. It's like they're, oh yeah, I'm eating all this food like you said, but like you're still getting weight. You're
yes.
you're you're really not getting any better. So that is what I mean by like let's look at what we're consuming and trying to find like where is the problem. Maybe we can like switch it out, you know.
Sounds good. Well, Cindy, I do appreciate your time and effort. We have already talked about a couple topics over here. Guys, we got to try to eat a lot more cleaner. We got to try to be healthy. We got to be happy as a main source of life. Life is not all about working. And, we do have to have our times to be happy, and just try to stay away from the negative, even though it's kind of impacting ourselves. But we got to, I hope this video kind of impacted you guys a little bit on how to eat a little bit better and how to stay away from the negative foods to the positive foods. We talked about synthetic sugars, real sugars, from diabetes. We talked about a lot, and I do appreciate you guys coming to watch. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Cindy, thank you so much for your time. You've been amazing, and I do appreciate your time. Okay, thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.